I am the camp director of the East Brunswick Recreation Day Camps. I've been with the program, this is going to be my 7th summer, my 2nd year as camp director of the program. Both of my children have gone through this camp program, and the site director here is Jeff Brofman, who happens to be my husband. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it tonight. He is in Michigan with our son at college orientation. So, yeah. It's scary.
So you would all be, the reason you're here tonight is for the Kool Kids full day orientation. We start on June 27th and we will end on August 10th. June 27th is a Wednesday. I'm going to tell you why we have to start on Wednesday. We can't bring anything to the schools until the teachers are gone. The teachers are gone Friday. We need a day to deliver all our things to the sites. Then we need a day to set everything up. It's just the way it happens. So that's why we have to start on Wednesday. I apologize, but it's the schools. We are an ACA accredited camp. We are one of the only municipalities in New Jersey who is ACA accredited. Normally you find this accreditation for private camps that have one site. We have about 6 binders that are about 5 inches thick of rules and regulations that we have to follow in order to be ACA accredited. It's a very long and grueling progress, but we really pride ourselves in the fact that we do follow the ACA rules and regulations. To be a camp, it's not a requirement, but it's always a good thing to strive for. The site director, like I said, his name is Jeff Brofman. He's been teaching for 27 years here in East Brunswick. He's currently a 4th grade teacher at Frost Elementary School, and this will be his 17th year working for the day camps. As I said, we have a son who's 17. His name is Justin. He's going to be going to Western Michigan University come this fall. It's kind of scary. He's going so far away. And I have a daughter who will be going into 7th grade who attends Hammersholt. We have actually 2 new specialists this year. Catherine Kuzma-Beck is our arts and crafts specialist. She actually started with our program back in 2001 as a counselor. And she's returning to us after working with a couple years through the Girl Scouts. She did the Girl Scout camp as an art specialist for them, and she has agreed to become our specialist this summer. And she's currently going for her master's in special education. Ariel Harris will be our games and activities specialist. She's new to the position but has been with camp since she was in 1st grade. She started in the half-day Kool Kids program as a camper and has worked her way up, and she's joining us this summer. She's been here with Kool Kids as a counselor for quite a few years, but she has been moved up to games and activity specialist. She's currently a senior at Elizabethtown College, and she is studying to be an occupational therapist. All of the counselors that are at this site are at least 18 years old. We have a few have just graduated high school, but the majority of them are in college or even out of college. We have a few teachers that work here as well. We have an extensive training program that we put our staff through. We bring in people from all over the country. We actually have a gentleman from Michigan who's coming in to speak in regards to child development to get our counselors a little bit more familiar on how your kids think and not just how they think they should think. Drop-off. Drop-off for this campsite is at 8:45. The doors will open at 8:45 a.m. The one thing that we do ask is that you park at the bottom, in the bottom parking lot, and not in the top. And the reason being is that there's so many kids coming in and out. There have been too many near misses of people coming through here through the parking lot that we ask that you take the spots down, and you must walk your camper up to the doors, and when the doors open and the kids come in, that's when you can leave. You cannot leave your kids outside because there will be no one attending them outside. Our campers need to be here 20 minutes before the buses leave. So for the most part, most of our trips do not leave before 9:05. So 8:45 would be the correct drop-off time. I believe there's only one trip that we do have an early drop-off, and that is for our Crayola factory trip. And I believe that drop-off is at 8:25. But that was indicated in the calendar that you have, that you were mailed. The drop-off will be in the bottom parking lot. It just gets too congested. The staff does park up here. The school staff parks up here, and that's where the majority of it will do. And we want to keep the traffic out of here. Most of the times the buses will either already be here or on their way. We want to keep as much traffic out from the bottom as we can. Again, same thing with the pickup, that you really should park in the lower lot, just for the fact that kids will be coming in and out being picked up. For the most part, we ask that they be picked up at 5:15. There are times we're back a little bit earlier than 5:15. The kids like to stay till 5:15 because they think they're going to miss something. Don't know what it is, but they think they're going to miss something. They're always having something going on at the end. Usually in the end, we're kind of in here, kind of milling around, maybe listening to some music, doing some dancing. A little bit later, when we have our kids for aftercare, they'll play a few hoops, that type of thing. But we will only release your child to the person who's on the authorization to pick up sheet. So if Aunt Susie is the possibility to pick up your child, please make sure Aunt Susie is on there. We will not let them go be released to anybody other than who is on the authorization to pick up sheet. Okay? If there is an emergency and you have to have someone else do it, you need to send us a note saying, this person is picking my child up on this day. If they're going to be someone who will be a regular person, you need to add them to the list. You can always get an additional list by calling the office, and Nicole in the back actually has some extra authorization to pick ups in the back. Extended care. Special arrangements are made in advance for extended care. It's for the whole 7-week period. We have extended morning care from 7:30 in the morning to 8:45, which is the start of camp. Excuse me, and it is $148. Nicole? She's not listening. $148 for the morning care, and again we have extended care for the evening from 5:30 to 6 p.m., which is again $148 for the whole 7 weeks, which is pretty much a bargain. I think we turn it out, it's like $4 a day. There is a penalty for late. You know, the camp ends at 5:15. We give you a grace period of 15 minutes. At 5:31, we start paying extra because we have to pay our staff extra to stay later. So at 5:31, we will ask for $10 for the next day. By the next day when you come in, you can either pay it by check or cash, but it does need to be in before the next camp day. If you come at 5:46, that's an additional $10. So every 15 minutes is a $10. If you're not here by 6 o'clock and we haven't been able to contact you via phone or one of your emergency contacts via phone, we will end up taking your child to our recreation office, which is just down the street. They're transported in one of our vehicles, and 2 people go with them. There is a female and a male counselor or a coordinator that will go down and take them to the rec office until you can get there. If your child is going to be absent, we ask that you please give us a call. Just for the fact that we do at times have to give a call in of how many people are going to be at a particular event. We don't hold our buses for anybody. You know, we need to know if they're not going to be in. It'll give us an idea of how many kids to expect. You can find the site number on the calendar. It's on the front of the calendar. It is a cell phone, so there is voicemail. You can leave a message indicating that your child will not be there. The one thing we do ask is that you do use that number to call in for emergencies only, or if you're calling your child absent. We ask that you don't say, oh, you know, I'm in New York and it's raining here, what's it doing out there? We're going to keep your kids safe. If it's raining, we're going to bring them inside. If it's a beautiful day, they're going to be outside playing. I've had a couple parents call, is she having a good time? She's having a good time. It's camp. Campers are grouped by grade. So first graders will be grouped with first graders, and we do a co-ed grouping so that there will be boys and girls, and we try to even it out, so we have, you know, 3 boys and 4 girls, or 4 boys and 3 girls. The camper to counselor ratio is 1 to 7. Group placement. Everyone wants to go to camp with their friends. We do take requests. It must be mutual, and we try as hard as we can to make sure that we get those kids to be in their groups. We try as hard as we can. There are times that we can't do it. Either we have an odd number of boys or an odd number of girls, and we try our hardest to make those groups, because we want the kids to have a good time, but we also want them to make new friends. It's a great place to make friends. You start out really young and you keep going. We have some counselors and some former counselors who started in the when we had our kindergarten program, and they're in their 20s and they're still friends with that person they met in camp. So what do we do when we're on site? We don't just come in the gym and sit down and do nothing. We all meet in the gym, and then we start doing our rotations at about 9 o'clock. Your child will spend some time in the arts and crafts room. We have age-appropriate arts and crafts for the children to do. We try to pick something that's going to be not too difficult for them if they're little first graders, but challenging enough if they're third graders. We have a game room where we have different board games. We have a big, huge Connect 4. It's pretty much life-size Connect 4 that the kids can play with. We also have sports or games and activities that we play either in the gym if it's inclement weather or outside. We'll utilize the field that's right outside on the other side of the parking lot. And we'll do different games that our games and activity Ariel will come up with. We also have free play, where we will go out to the playground. The playground's a big thing. It's a really nice playground here, and the kids still love to do the playground time. If it's a beautiful day, we're definitely out there. If not, we do some indoor games, and counselor will direct some games. Sometimes the counselors will even be out there, and they'll come up with their own little game that they'll play with their kids. Administration of medication and illness. The only medication that we are authorized to give is an inhaler or an EpiPen. And the only time we can give Benadryl is if it's ordered with the EpiPen. A lot of times, if a child is on an EpiPen, they'll be requested to be given Benadryl first. We are not allowed to administer any other medication. We can't give cough medicine, we can't give allergy medicine, we can't give, Tylenol. If your child is ill, just like at school, you need to keep them at home. School, they may fake that they're not feeling well. In camp, they're not going to fake it. If they're not feeling well, they're not feeling well. And although we do have people here, we have 3 people that are first aid CPR trained, we don't have anyone that can sit with them if they're not feeling well. So if they're not feeling well in the morning or not feeling well the night before, please bear in mind that most likely it's because they're really not feeling well. Camp is a fun place to be. They want to come to camp. If your camper does become ill on site or is injured, we of course will try to contact you first. If we're unable to contact you, we will contact the next people on the emergency contact list and going down until we reach someone. If it's a life-threatening emergency, we will transport them to the nearest hospital or the hospital that you've chosen in your emergency contact form. Excuse me. But we, of course, will try to contact you first. And we'll let you know we're not going to call you if they get a scrape or, the big thing with especially the first graders is I cut my finger. And then they come back 10 minutes later. I cut my finger, the Band-Aid fell off. We joke around in the office because we have these little minor incident forms. And this site goes through probably about 50 a week for the little bumps and scrapes that the kids get. They tripped when they're on the playground, they got a little skinned knee. If it's anything more significant, of course, we would give you a call and let you know about it. But at the end of the day, we will let you know what happens. If your child does go home sick, just like in the schools, they do have to be symptom-free for 24 hours. Bus safety rules. For any of your kids who do take a bus, we basically follow those same rules. They need to be belted in, they need to be seated forward. They will be given an emergency ID tag. Let me see if I have one of these here. these tags are only worn on the bus. They're put on them like this, and on the back it has their name, their date of birth, where they're from, what site, their address and telephone number, their emergency contact and the emergency number, their doctors, whatever emergency allergies they may have, and their hospital. The reason for this tag, and we put it on the campers as they get on the bus or just before they get on the bus, and we take them off when they come off the bus. So they're not wearing them at Jersey Jump. They're not wearing at any venue that we'll be at. They'll be with the counselor at that point. But when they are in the bus, these are on them in case, God forbid, something does happen. We have this identification information on them. Another thing that they will be wearing, especially if they go on a trip outside of East Brunswick, is one of these little bracelets. They're very easy to take off. We do that because we identify them with our phone number and an emergency phone number that they can be called for. Our office number is right here, and also the East Brunswick police number is on this as well. As far as the tag is concerned, the little ones tend to eat them. We ask that you please talk to your kids and tell them not to eat them. Seriously, they take them and they chew on them, and it's kind of like a chew toy. And we have to charge you $2 to replace them because it does cost us for the little laminate that we have here. But the little ones tend to chew them. Sometimes even the 8th and 9th graders chew on them. The one thing we also ask for these children is that they keep on their bracelets while we're gone. Sometimes it's annoying, but we try to make it loose enough so it doesn't bother them, or tight enough so it doesn't bother them, but for the most part loose enough. There's no standing or walking in the bus, no pushing or cutting, no eating or drinking on the bus, just like any other rules that they've done. If they've been on a field trip at school, they know all of these rules. Permission slips. Recently you were mailed a big packet of permission slips. You had the one that you felt like you were signing your mortgage with, that every trip you had to sign. And you also had the few releases for Jersey Jump and Pump It Up. Those are releases that are given to us by the companies themselves. We need those in by Friday. When you think about how many permission slips you had to fill out, multiply that by 125 for this site, plus all our 3 half-day sites, plus our other 3 full-day sites. We have to go through packets and packets of permission slips and get all of this stuff together so that we have it. All the waivers that we have to bring in, the sites actually have to bring them with them to the site. So for example, you may have gotten 2 or 3 Jersey Jump waivers. It's because we go there 3 times, and we have to have a new waiver for each time. If you're missing any permission slips, we can get copies to you. Just give us a call. Or Nicole has a limited amount in her back with her that you can fill out. Verbal permissions is not a good thing. No slip, no trip. We have to have it in signature. Dress code. Everyone's going to get 5 t-shirts on the first day of camp. For the 2nd and 3rd graders that were here last year, they're the same color. So you'll have a few extra. We also sell extra t-shirts if you want for $5. You need to wear a camp t-shirt every day. This is our quick view of identifying the campers when we're on a trip. They wear them everywhere. They wear them to Crystal Springs. We don't let them take their t-shirts off at Crystal Springs, just for the fact that it's an easy identifier for us when we're keeping with our groups, so that we know that if there's a little green shirt, a little jade color shirt wandering around, we know that counselor does not have that camper, and we get them back to them much quicker. We also ask that when we do water days, that your child wear their bathing suit underneath their clothes. If they're a girl, they're going to wear their bathing suit and a pair of shorts and their t-shirt. Socks and shoes must be worn every day, and they have to be closed-toed shoes, even on water days. If they're going to be wearing water shoes, that's fine, but they have to bring it with them in their bag. Just for the fact that for safety reasons, they can't go on the buses with just water shoes on. Okay? But it must be closed-toed shoes, sneakers preferably. We ask that anything that you send in with your camper, like a towel, or if you send in an extra t-shirt, if they go to Crystal Springs and you want to send them in with an extra t-shirt to change in out of that so they're not sitting in a wet t-shirt, that's fine. The boys, they can wear their trunks and their t-shirt. That's not a problem. The one thing we don't do is we don't change when we're at Crystal Springs. For the most part, they're pretty much dry by the time the bus ride back and all that. They're pretty much dry when they get here and running around after they're here. So every day they should be wearing shorts and their camp t-shirt and closed-toed shoes with socks in underneath them. We prefer not, I mean, I'm a bad example. I don't have socks with my sneakers, but we really ask that they do. There's no Crocs, no Heelys, no sandals, no clogs, no flip-flops. If the girls are coming to camp, try to keep the jewelry at home. We don't want it to get broken or lost or to go flying when they're playing outside on the playground. We will, if we see that they are wearing jewelry, we will ask them to remove it, and we'll hold it for them up here with the site director to be given to you at the end of the day. Water-related activities. As I indicated, they should wear their bathing suit underneath their t-shirt and shorts, or if it's a boy, they can wear their trunks. And they should bring a towel and make sure you put your name on the towel. We don't like to play, whose towel is this, because most kids don't remember what their towel looked like. We don't offer swimming lessons, but as far as any of the water activities that we do abide by all the height restrictions. We will get occasional kids who say, well, I can go on this when I go to Crystal Springs with my dad, but we have to go by their height regulation. You're not with your dad, you're one child with 7 other kids for that one counselor, so unfortunately we can't let them all go on the slide. The other water park that we do go to is Breakwater Beach. We go there twice. That's a really fun trip. They did it for the first time last year and they absolutely loved it, so we decided to do it 2 times this summer. Sunscreen. The one thing we ask you to do is to teach your child how to put sunscreen on. The easiest thing for kids this age is the spray sunscreen. I know it costs a little bit more money, but unfortunately counselors are not allowed to put sunscreen on the children. They're not allowed. It's a regulation that we're not allowed to have them put their sunscreen on. So the kids should learn how to do it. If they have the spray, I mean, they can spray it on their back for them, but they're not allowed to rub it in or anything. The spray, what's easy about it is the kids can then just rub it, and at least it gets pretty much everywhere. We will ask them to reapply sunscreen when we're outside, especially those sunny days, and especially when we're at the water. We encourage your child to drink water. We ask that you send them in with a water bottle. Poland Springs, Acme, whatever water bottle you have, a disposable water bottle. Usually one will last a few days, and we refill it at the fountain. The fountain water is cold water. It does come out, and we encourage them to refill that water bottle at all times. And we keep an eye and making sure that they're drinking, because we know if they're going to the bathroom, they're drinking. If they're not, then we need to make sure they're really drinking. We try to keep them well hydrated. Your best bet is to put your child's name on the bottle so that they know which one it is. Backpacks. They're going to bring a backpack to camp. You're going to pack them with 2 snacks and a non-perishable lunch. We do not have refrigeration. We're not allowed to use the kitchen. Unfortunately, it's a school regulation that they have to have a kitchen person in order to use the kitchen. It's a whole OSHA thing. So unfortunately, we do not have refrigeration on camp. So our suggestion is that you get one of those thermal bags. You can throw an ice pack in it. It keeps pretty cold. The one thing we do suggest as well is try to stay away from dairy if you can. I know a lot of the kids like to eat the little Go-Gurts, but you got to watch it, especially on the hot days, because the hot days will get their stomachs upset. And usually that's what happens, is the Go-Gurts do that. You want to pack your snacks separately from lunch, and this is why. Because if they open that lunchbox and they see those, I don't know, those Oreos or something that they really, really like, they're going to eat that for lunch. and you're going to come back, they're going to come home with that sandwich and, you know, that piece of fruit. They're going to go for that first. So our suggestion is always to make sure that you pack their snacks separately so that they know what is a snack and what's not. You can put your water shoes and your towels. They should be brought for water days. And like we said, as far as the bus is concerned, with the safety reasons, we ask that they not wear water shoes to camp. Do you have any questions yet? Everyone's so quiet today. Usually I have everyone talking. Yes, sure.
Like at the water park.
Yes.
I said it's a radio at all.
Okay.
So down the left and everything, but so is he going to be, I mean, he's very tall.
Right.
I've never been to this spring, are there pools very deep?
Not, yeah. Huh? What his question was is that his son doesn't swim yet, and they're going to be going to water parks. We make sure, that's one thing you may want to mention, that he doesn't swim yet, even if you talk to his counselor. And he's very tall, so he might reach the height restrictions. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. For the most part.
What happens is some of the counselors, if some of their kids are tall enough to go on the slides, but others aren't, sometimes they'll kind of switch kids for a little while, and they'll take, you know, the kids that are tall enough, and then the other kids will go to the other counselor for a little while. So kids will get the chance to go on the slides.
But
Try to do everything that they can. If your kid is like maybe an inch too short, buy them water shoes. Sometimes that helps, and they'll be tall enough to go on the slides.
But on the opposite fact, he said that his child is tall enough to go on. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that he doesn't go on those things. Yes. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, and for the most part, the pools that they go in, I think the tallest, I actually think it's 5 feet, the deepest, right? The Sapphire Bay. Yeah, and they have a tendency to stick to like the lazy river and the family pool because they have fun like goofing with the counselors. Yeah, and you know everywhere that we do go, they do have lifeguards, and not that we're counting on them. I mean that's one of the counselors' deals is you got to keep what's going on with your kids. Swimmies are not an actual flotation device. The only thing you can do is if there's a vest, an actual vest, you're more than welcome to send them in with the vest. When they're at Crystal Springs, there's a limited number of vests available, and if you want to have your child put into one, as long as they have it available, to do it.
Special approval type of vest. I don't remember offhand, if you go on the website and look under Crystal Springs, we'll have the information on there for you.
I mean, I'll give you a little story. My son started out at Kool Kids half day, and in first grade, my husband was very paranoid. Firstborn, that whole thing. You're very, very protective of your firstborn. And he told the site director, when you guys go to Crystal Springs, he has to wear a vest. I don't care what you do, he has to wear a vest when you go to Crystal Springs. Can I tell you, he was the only first grade kid that was wearing a vest, that was not in the water. He's playing in the sandbox the whole time. So picture a little kid in the sandbox wearing a life vest. He never went in the water. The ratio is still 1 to 7. They do run in a group, and like I said, with the little ones, they tend to stay in the mushroom pool or in the family pool. They won't even go into the lazy river because it's a little too deep. But it is still 7 to 1. But we have the specialist there and the site director there, and they also walk around and make sure that the kids are okay. They're always on their feet, on their way, going to make sure everything is good. You had a question? We don't go to the beach with this particular group. We go to a place called Breakwater Beach, but it's a water park. It's actually Crystal Springs on steroids. That's the best way to put it. It has the most awesome. The kids spend most of the time on this like water playground where there's like this big bucket that dumps over and all that. It's not an actual beach. We don't start sending them to the beach until they're in 6th grade. You had a question?
Well, the morning care, where does it stop?
You're going to drop them right here. You're going to walk them in and check them in for the morning care. You'll drop them in the same place. Yes? Probably before, because what will happen is my friend Christian over there and a few of our friends are going to be coming in, and what we do is we bundle the t-shirts, put the child's name on it, so your t-shirts will be here. They're not going anywhere. So if you come on the first day, you're going to be coming after camp starts? Okay, so when you come back on Monday, you'll come in, you'll bring your child in, we'll tell you which group you're in, we'll get their t-shirts for you. Your child will quickly put that t-shirt on, we'll hand you the 4 other t-shirts to say, take these home, Mom. Oh yeah, the counselors will be here, and you will meet them in the morning. They're always here. They're here before drop-off. We open at 8:45. My counselors are all required to be here at 8:30. A lot of them come in to do the morning care. We have a lot of kids that participate in the morning care. So I think we're up to like 30 at this point. Right, they're going to Franklin Institute. They walk in groups. Nicole, how many kids have you lost in the 15 years you've been doing camp?
We've actually found other people. Feeling better. I will probably we don't like trails that later. We have to find somebody else to do. As soon as they hear that a child is lost, the place is all locked. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out.
1 to 7. Yeah, 1 to 7. Yeah, as long as they're not long, pretty dangly ones like yours. If they're little hoops, that's okay. If they're studs, that's fine. I have to tell you, for those of you who have been with this site before, the site director here is Mr. Safety. I mean, if that gives you one example, he's extremely safe. He will lock a place down if he has any question, and he's done it in the past. You know, kid is hidden on him, and he's locked the place down. I can't find this kid. We're locking it down. So he is he's very Mr. Safety. We also do drills. We do lost camper drills. We do bus drills. We do fire drills. We do lockdown drills. We do shelter-in-place drills. All those drills that they do in the school, we do the same thing here. And that's to make sure that, you know, we know where our kids are. We make sure that that counselor knows where they're going. And, you know, even walking through the school, that counselor is walking down the hall and they're like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They turn a corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the way he trains them, as he tells them, you have to know where your kids are at all times. And she's been here for quite some time. Unfortunately, she won't be here this summer. Yeah, they're extremely conscious of where the kids are, especially the little ones, because they are little. Any other questions? Yes. You can pack breakfast for them if you'd like. That's not a problem. What we do is we have little activities for them to do. We'll have like the crayons out with coloring books. We'll have the stacking cups, you know, that type of thing. Nothing really organized. Just some things for them to play with while they're here. Okay. Yes.
My son brings peanut butter and jelly. Do you keep them separate from any other kid that may have a peanut allergy?
What we do is we have a peanut table. Okay. For those kids that are peanut allergic. We keep that so we're aware of them, so those kids, you know, and there's a number of them that have peanut allergy or have some sort of allergy, and they can bring a friend up to that peanut-free table as long as their food is peanut-free. Yes. Okay. Well, we're not a peanut-free site. None of our sites are peanut-free. We are peanut aware, and that we do have a separate area for them. You know, we do ask the kids after they eat that they wash their hands. How severe is your child's peanut allergy? I'm sorry? Okay. Is it through ingestion? Or is it through touch? That's what I'm asking. After having eaten it? Okay. Okay, so she's allergic by touch at that point. So then what will happen is that we're going to ask that she be put at the peanut-free table, you know. And what we ask is, we do ask the kids, whether they're eating peanuts or not, that they do wash their hands. We have a number of different allergies as well that we deal with. And the big thing is keeping clean and washing their hands, keeping their mouths washed as well. So we try to keep aware of that. And the counselor will know if the child is peanut allergy or any other type of allergy, and they'll be instructed on how to handle that. Okay? Yes? Okay. My suggestion is you look at the time that the trip goes, okay? If there is a trip that they're leaving both at the same time, what we'll do is you can give me a call, you know, tomorrow. I'm only here in the morning tomorrow, but you can give me a call. Oh, okay. You're driving each other. Ah, okay. Well, let me ask you a question.
Well, then I'm driving you to the Churchill and the other one here at all 3 times.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, this is the deal. Check when the trips are. Okay. If the trips leave at the same time, we will check the calendar against that. And what you'll do is you will drop the child off that the trip leaves earlier for, or for example, you live closer to here, right? Okay. Yeah, so what will happen is if there is a trip that's conflicting as far as time is concerned, we'll let you drop the kids off a little bit early here. And that we just have to go through the calendar and just check it. So, and you know, Jeff, he keeps meticulous notes.
Lunchbox is okay?
Lunchbox is okay. Or a thermal box is okay, like a thermal lunchbox. Put one with that. They can put little things in. Any other questions? Yep. Well, the drop-off starts at 7:30 in the morning. You get dropped off right here, and the pickup is until 6 p.m. We prefer that you park in the lower lot because there's still kids coming and going. Like I said, we have 30 kids so far signed up for morning care. So there's still going to be a lot of kids, so we do ask that you drop them off. Yes. It's going to be in this door, correct. Correct. Okay.
I know my daughter had done 2 years ago and it was drop off from the car. I don't know if that was because they were older.
What was it, the 4th and 5th grade program? Yeah.
So my question is Churchill a drop off at the car? Like, we have to bring them in?
Yeah, they pretty much, I mean, the doors won't open before 8:45, so you can't drop them off before 8:45. You don't have to walk them in. And actually, for Churchill, as far as the drop-off is concerned, it's actually in a different spot for the drop-off. It's actually up the top of the hill, because they're going to be going through the main doors instead of down in the gym. I think we went over this, lunches. The one thing that we do ask that you don't send your child, oh, yes. What do you mean a buddy system? You mean counselors? I mean, they're going to be with their counselor, so their counselor is going to be in charge of watching them. So they're going to be in a group. So, for example, I don't understand what you mean. I mean, we don't send them out alone. So they'll always be someone they're looking out for. They don't go anywhere by themselves. Even in school, if they go to the bathroom, they'll go down with somebody else, or the counselor will go down and actually walk into the bathroom and stand outside the bathroom. You know, so there's really not so much a chance that they're going to be they're not going to be by themselves. They're going to be with a counselor. It's 1 counselor per 7 children, which is actually below regulation. As far as regulation is concerned, as far as ACA regulation, we can go as much as 10 kids per counselor. We don't. We do 7. Yes. If one child has to go to the bathroom from a group, is that what you mean? What will happen is a counselor will go with them. They will check the bathroom before they go into a public bathroom, and they will actually stand right outside the door and with their foot in the door. A male counselor will go with the boys, and a girl counselor will go with the girls, just so you know. But they will actually stand outside the door and holding it open, and they'll be visible whoever comes in and out. They obviously can't go in the stalls with them, but you know, they'll be right there with them. Yes? Yes, it's the same counselor. They'll call them by their first names. The only person they call Mr. is the site director. They call him Mr. B. Yeah, because Brofman tends to be a little hard for a lot of them. Yes? Yes. What usually happens, and I can almost guarantee it, when they travel to places like that, 2 or 3 counselors buddy up, and I'm telling you, when someone comes up and says, Katie, I gotta go potty, she's like, okay. And she looks down and they're like, I gotta go too, I gotta go too, so you get like 6 kids that go at the same time anyway. So, but they do buddy up together with other counselors. Okay. When they do go on these full-day trips, a lot of times what they do is they won't bring their backpacks since they really don't need them. So what we ask that you do is you pack their lunch in a plastic grocery bag that you can pick up at ShopRite or when you're doing your grocery shopping, because they'll eat their food and then whatever they're not done with, they'll throw whatever they don't need, they'll throw away. Sometimes I think, Nicole, does your site when they have snack, does the counselor usually hold on to the snack?
On the trip?
Yeah.
Depends where they go. Like Crayola Factory, the counselors will collect it before they get on the bus, and they'll hold it and then won't eat when they get there. Sometimes the kids are in charge of holding it on the bus. It doesn't hurt if they take a snack with them and keep it in a separate paper bag.
Paper bag. So we'll put, and what we do is when we go on these big trips, we literally take all the lunches and we put it in a garbage bag, in a big black garbage bag. We label it with their number, the counselor or their group number, because you'll have 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, all the way down, 2nd grade and 3rd grade. And that's how they travel with their lunches on the full day trips. With this grade, we do not allow them to bring money at all. The big thing is remembering when they go on the full day trips to send them with lunch. You had a question? What they do is they'll bring the children into the bathroom. They'll make sure there's no one else in there or be aware of who is in there. I mean, we can't kick people out of the bathroom, but we try to keep them. And they stand at the door. They stand at the door, right where the door is, to see who's coming in and out. But the children will be right there, and the doors are open, so they're seeing who's, what's going on in the bathroom. So make sure that the kids aren't playing around or anything like that. Yeah, they actually walk into the bathroom with the children themselves, and then they check, make sure everything's good, and then they'll stand, like, for example, let's say the door is right here. They'll stand right here at the door, so they have a complete view of what's going on in the bathroom, and they'll be able to see who's coming in and out of the bathroom as well. They don't peek into the stalls, so that's what you're asking. Oh, yes. That's why they're standing right there at the door, so they can view what's going. No. They're like hoping, they're holding the door open to the bathroom to see who's coming in and out and to see what's going on in that area. I assure you. Okay, can I go on? Parental visits. I know everyone loves it when they go to Crystal Springs and they see their kids. We don't mind if you come and say hi, give them a hug, give them a kiss, that type of thing. But the only thing that we do ask is that you don't encourage them to join you. We are in charge of them at that time period, so that what will happen is there'll be a conflict, and we want them to, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, I want to go with my mom. It's like, well, no, you're at camp right now, so you have to be with us. So make your visits brief, but you're more than welcome to visit with them. Just make sure you let Mr. B know that he's that you're there, so he can keep an eye. But just realize that we are responsible for them, and when they're at a site, that's what it is. If you have any reason to discuss any other camper's behavior, if you have a problem with another child, your camper has another problem with a child or a counselor, please let Mr. B know, and he'll make arrangements to sit down and talk with you. If there's any instances that happen during the camp day, they will discuss it with you. The one other thing, as far as, just so you know, as far as pickup is concerned, you cannot pick up your child at a site. So if you go to Crystal Springs with your other kids and your Kool Kid is there, you can't pick them up at Crystal Springs. You have to come here to Warrensdorfer to pick them up. And the reason is this. When they leave this site, they call in their attendants, and they tell them number 5, 17, 31, 62, 78, 121. They go through all the numbers of the kids who are not here. Because God forbid something happens when they go on that trip, they know who to look for and who not to look for. So our main office knows who is no longer on that bus. We can't have them picked up at Crystal Springs or the movies or whatever just for that fact, because this has already been called in. This is what we know. If there's an emergency, that's how we handle it. The only exception to the rule would be if there is an emergency and you have to take them right then and there. I mean, for example, you have to take your other child to the hospital and you need to take them with you. That's the way it is. You're taking your child to a doctor's appointment, you can't pick them up at that site. You have to keep them home at that point. Personal property. We ask that they do not bring personal property with them. We don't want them to lose their, I don't know if they're still into Yu-Gi-Oh cards or not, their Yu-Gi-Oh cards, their stuffed animals, their iPods, their iPads, you know, their Game Boys. We ask that you leave those at home. We cannot be held responsible for anything that's brought in. Anything that does get brought in does get confiscated from the site director. It tends to be a huge distraction for the kids. And then if you're dealing with like that card game type business, you know, he took this card, I didn't want him to take, you know, it's the whole thing. That's something we don't want to have to deal with. There's enough for them to do here on site, but they don't need that.
I have a question on that.
Sure.
Because I had an issue with that last year.
Okay.
Do the camp counselors check the book bags? Because I think that they should.
Okay.
Perhaps if that's encouraged, because then what ends up happening is I think kids sneak in little toys.
Okay.
In the book bags, and then
They do, and what happens is they do find it, we'll take them, and we'll hold them up front. I mean, could we look at their bags? Yes. It's not something we're necessarily allowed to do. It's kind of like one of those, you know, unless we have a reason to look, we'll look. Unless we don't, we really are not encouraged to do so. I know it helps you, but I'm hoping that our first, second, and third graders don't have cell phones yet. Do we have cell phones? Okay, don't bring them. If you really need to contact your child in an emergency, you know, call the site cell phone, and if they need to contact you, they'll call you. You know, we do have that site cell phone that we can do that with, but only in emergency, not to call them and say, are you having a good time, honey? Because they are. And they're going to be like, why are you calling me? I don't want to talk to you. So the site director always has his cell phone with him, and you call in your absences there and if there's any emergencies. Our discipline policy. You were all sent a green discipline policy that you read over and you signed. We do hold them to that discipline policy. There's, you know, certain, pretty much the same thing the schools deal with. As far as if there's any issues with your camper, the issues will be brought to the site director, and the site director will set up a meeting with you. If there's any instances, the first time it'll be a verbal, the second time it'll be a written. 3 strikes and they're suspended from camp for a day, for a trip. And then any additional things, they will be asked to leave camp. But it will be, I'm not talking, you know, she called me a name. I'm talking severe issues. You know, there are situations that will warrant it. especially as far as the physical side is concerned. We do not tolerate any hitting or anything like that. We do follow the schools as far as their new HIB policies are concerned. I'm sure you're familiar with that word. It's harassment, intimidation, and bullying. We actually have a bullying session, you know, that not that they bully each other, but we talk about bullying and all of this with the kids the very first week of camp, because we want to nip it in the bud. And believe it or not, it does happen in this age level. Not a lot, but it does happen. So we do follow, as far as the school is concerned, exactly what their policies are. If there's an instance, there's an investigation done, the parents are notified of both sides of what's going on, and then we give the results on both sides of what's going on. So the day camp has been around for a long, long time. 50 plus years ago, it was a drop-off program for a quarter. We had people who worked for us that went to that drop-off program, and they have since retired. And it's developed into this traveling program, which is eons ahead of where it was back then. But East Brunswick Summer Camp has always been the place to be, and you've always made great friends. We also have some additional information on the East Brunswick website. It's eastbrunswick.org. You would go to Department, into Recreation, and into the Summer Day Camp program. We do use the Global Connect, which is a reverse 911. So if your camper is going to be significantly late, we will give you a call, and it will go to whatever phone number is indicated for your emergency phone number. So it'll go to your cell number. You know, we're caught in traffic, we're going to be 20 minutes late. You have another camper at another site, go pick them up first, and then come back. Do we have any other questions? Yes?
It's about backpacking.
Yes.
If they're not really, if they're going somewhere, they don't need a towel, they don't need water shoes, they don't really need a backpack.
Well, for their snacks and for their lunch. It can be a smaller bag, yeah. Yeah, if they want a smaller bag.
Say when you go out and it's paper lunch bag.
Right. Plastic.
You do with the sunscreen and the tissues,
You're playing devil's advocate, aren't you? Okay. Well, for the most part, if we're going somewhere that requires sunscreen, they're going to have a backpack. And we'll bring the backpack, and what we'll do is, like for example, when we go to Boatcraft Amusement Park, they have their backpack with it, their lunch stays in it, they come in, we have a designated spot, and the backpacks are all put there. There's someone who is there, probably one of our specialists or even the site director, who's there as a, you know, this is a home base, and their backpacks will be there for them, so that you can keep all of those things in. The only place would be like Franklin Institute. They're not going to need their sunscreen. If they want to bring tissues, my suggestion is give them a couple, throw them in their pocket. You know, if you get them those little packs, the kids always like those. They're a little expensive, but you know, they like them. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Correct. When they go on their trips, when they're on the bus, so for example, when they're on the bus, when your daughter's going to, it's your daughter, right? When your daughter's on that bus, the bus that they're on, their lead person will have their EpiPen. Okay? Their EpiPen is always in one spot. When they're on site here, their EpiPen is in one place, so that, God forbid, something happens, it takes them 2 minutes to come over here and grab their EpiPen, and they'll be there. Because it will be locked up in one spot. If they're on the bus, that EpiPen is on that bus. If we have an EpiPen child, we have the EpiPen, we have a first aider traveling around with those groups. We try to keep the kids together with that, you know, just so, and they're carrying those EpiPens on them. Or inhalers for that purpose. Any other questions? No? Oh my gosh, I think this is the first time we've done this, that we've been done by 8:30, and I put it all to the fact that my husband's not here. His nickname is Gabby. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to call me at the recreation office. Have a good evening.